this is going to be my mantra. Seriously, this is going to be my mantra. Swami started this hospital and he is sustaining the hospital.
Even after his Mahasamadhi?
Yes. The thought just crossed in my mind, oh my goodness, they don't have a director for this hospital. Is it something I should be interested in? I wasn't invited. I offered to take this job.
I see.
So people thought that I'm missing some marbles when I offered to take this job, which is what really happened.
But the more distinctive element of this hospital you haven't touched upon yet, and that is the billing department.
We don't have any. We don't have. So, no. First time when I came to see this, I didn't believe. Seriously, did not believe, because heart surgery is expensive. You know, obstacles, I would say, are personal as well as financial.
So what to do, as they say in India all the time?
What to do? Yes, we first thing we do, seriously. I'm not. Don't laugh at this. First thing I do is I pray to Swami. Please send me the right people.
I'm not laughing at that.
No, please.
I know the power of that.
No, pray to Swami. I do. He started such a wonderful movement in this hospital, unheard in this world. Unheard in this world. I have no regret because I want to be part of this mission.
It is an institution that's practically unheard of in the world, a super specialty, highly skilled primary care hospital that is totally free of charge to everyone, including to the poorest of the poor. Holy man Sri Sathya Sai Baba inaugurated this grand institution in Puttaparthi, India on November 22, 1991. With 300 beds and 11 operating theaters, this hospital has a staff of specialists in anesthesiology, cardiology, cardiothoracic and vascular surgery, ophthalmology, orthopedic, and many other specialties. And in charge of it all, long-time American cardiothoracic surgeon, Dr. Choudary Voleti. And this is the story. Welcome to Souljourns. This interview was recorded in January 2013.
Sai Ram, I can't help but call you Choudary because you're the one who really helped me gain intimate access to Sri Sathya Sai Baba. But you're Dr. Choudary Voleti, the director of the super specialty hospital in Prashanthi Nilayam, one of the most unusual hospital in the world for a very important reason. From a personal perspective, your experience at accepting this august post to be the director of the super specialty hospital. Tell me about what went through your mind when you were invited to accept this post.
No, the craziest thing, if I were to say, I wasn't invited. I offered to take this job.
I see.
So people thought that I'm missing some marbles when I offered to take this job, which is what really happened. I went more than halfway through actually presenting myself to the trust, saying I am willing to or interested in this job, provided we have some common ground. And there's a little Swami background here, like everything else, you know, this. On July 8th, a Sunday, I will not forget that Sunday, that's the Wimbledon finals. And I had a ticket to go to Wimbledon finals.
Okay.
And that, you know, being tennis runs through my blood like cardiac surgery, you know how important that is for me. I've gone to Wimbledon
Absolutely,
before.
I do.
I've gone to Wimbledon before, but not for finals on a regular Thursdays and Fridays like that. So this ticket I was looking for the last 12 months and I finally got it, and it's in with me, and I'm in Hawaii. So my decision was to fly to London and watch the match, enjoy the match, and then, you know, come to Puttaparthi, do my usual seva I do in Whitefield. But I have no idea still, and I cannot reconstruct it either. On the same July 8th Sunday, instead of being in the center court, I'm sitting in Kulwant Hall, listening to the bhajans.
So you had to forego your opportunity for the dream of being present for those tennis matches.
Yes.
But what happened after you were sitting in Kulwant Hall?
I have no idea why it was. In that weekend, you know, this was Sunday, and then I was generally being a little introspective, you know, what's going on, and I still felt very comfortable in the darshan hall. That's the first thing that really, because this is the first time I'm really spending some time in Kulwant Hall after the Mahasamadhi, because before that mine were like flying visits, and my volunteering service was in Whitefield. So I was sitting there, and probably as introspective as anybody could be under the circumstances, and the thought just crossed in my mind, oh my goodness, they don't have a director for this hospital. Is it something I should be interested in? And then, you know, the seed was planted and it kept growing. And sure enough, next day, I volunteered myself to some of the trust members saying, I am interested. And of course, they were a little baffled and said, are you really interested? Can you work here? I said, yes, I am interested. But some certain conditions have to be met. And the rest is history, actually. Some of the important board members were on vacation, and they rerouted their vacations, and we all met in Whitefield. Ironically, is in Swami's residence in Whitefield. Can you believe? That's another unbelievable thing. So we met in Swami's residence in Whitefield.
In Trey Vrindavan. And then the rest is history, as you said. When did the reality finally strike you? When did you wake up to realize that you're taking on really an awesome responsibility? Did it hit you right away or later?
No, it did not hit me right away. I was still in that fog, seriously in that fog. Of course, the interviews went, and they were very gracious. They said yes, and they agreed on most of the terms I was asking them to be, which was basically reallocating the responsibility and the powers of the director. Mm-hmm. So, they thought about it quite a bit, and then they said, we both agreed, me and them as a party, that we will take 3 months. 3 months. Actually, it's again, and all these things are, I think, predestined. I say September 29th is a Saturday. That's when I joined here. You won't believe it. I arrived at 3:30 in the morning in the Bangalore airport and came to the guest house and settled, and I was hoping to join like around October 3rd or 4th. Mm-hmm. And then, unbeknownst to me, they all looked around and said, no, October 1st onwards, it's a bad time for 2 weeks. You're here, you join. And that Saturday.
So and they immediately put you to work.
No, that morning itself.
Morning itself. After getting off the airplane.
Yes, I came here, took charge, and the joint director was actually waiting to unload his responsibility, and I signed the papers in the morning because around 11.
Choudary, let's talk about this hospital for a second. If I were to line up 5 people who are very knowledgeable about the super specialty hospital here in Puttaparthi and ask them what was most unusual about it, my guess is I might get 5 different answers. What's your answer to that question? Why is this place so special, so auspicious?
The reason it is, Swami, whatever he conceives, I think conceives in what I call the holiest spirit. That's the only way you can put it. And this has been totally conceived by Swami. And I'll tell you how all these things could come together. The architect per se, everybody knows it. He's not just a regular architect.
He's a spiritual architect.
Yeah, he got full knowledge of Vastu. And this building, though naysayers are there, is going to last for 1,000 years.
That's exactly what Baba said.
I have no doubt about it.
Be a healing temple. Well, there's going to be naysayers for every project, but when somebody who's a naysayer, just because that's what their predisposition is, hears that this is going to be a temple of healing for 1,000 years, then that puts them into overdrive. They can think of all sorts of objections as to how that can't be.
Yeah.
But tell me how you think that can be. Because this is still bricks and mortar. How can it still be here in 1,000 years?
Oh yeah, no problem at all. Because Swami has the fourth thought. Seriously, I'm not joking. Swami has the fourth thought. Like I was saying, this is going to be my mantra. Seriously, this is going to be my mantra. Swami started this hospital. And he is sustaining the hospital.
Even after his Mahasamadhi?
Yes. I will tell you why.
Okay.
It needs explanation a little bit. No question, everybody knows he started this hospital. Actually, he used to come almost every day to watch the construction of this hospital.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Almost every day he was here.
Because he promised it would have its first surgery 1 year from the day he announced the plans for the hospital, which was unbelievable.
No, I mean, with him it's believable because this is the only place, or he's the only person that I know of, whether divine or not is anybody's guess, could tell you the end point before the day. Oh, you know, most of the people say this project was opened that day. That's all. He puts the finishing date. He said a year from now, you'll have open heart surgeries done. And that was just nothing but a desert here at that time. 150 acres of desert.
And he did it.
He did, actually did. Not one. They had 4 successful open heart surgeries done that one day.
1 year after
1
he
year.
announced.
Since then, we have done 22,800 open heart surgeries in this hospital, which naysayers said is going to close in a year.
That's mind-boggling all by itself. But the more distinctive element of this hospital you haven't touched upon yet, and that is the billing department.
We don't have any. We don't have. So, no. First time when I came to see this, I didn't believe. Seriously, did not believe, because heart surgery is expensive. You know, even in this country, minimum, it still costs 150,000 rupees.
You were a cardiologist in America for many years. Just off the top of your head, I know the figures are changing from year to year, but what might heart surgery cost, an average typical heart surgery in the United States in dollars?
It costs between $20,000 to $30,000.
Okay.
Typical heart surgery, I'm a cardiac surgeon by the way, a typical cardiac surgery, but see, microcosting they normally never do. But if you take it, still it's between $20,000 and $30,000.
So as a cardiosurgeon, when you see statistics such as the one you just gave me, 28,000 surgeries, cardiac surgeries here, I don't know how to multiply that times $20,000 to $30,000, but it's a mind-boggling figure, and not a penny comes into the accounts receivable department because there is no such department.
There's no
How does it work? For those who are still new to the idea of Baba's super specialty hospital, how does that work?
He has the forethought and the foresight. The forethought is to build, the foresight is to maintain. That's what I said till today. This is the story I was talking about. Swami started this and is sustaining it still. How is he sustaining it? Both spiritually and economically. Spiritually, he's sustaining it because anybody who walks through this most holiest place, this we call temple of feeling, you feel that vibration, you feel that spirit, no question about it. But financially also because he has put a corpus, an interest of which is sustaining this hospital. Just purely interest alone.
Like a trust, like a foundation trust. So the corpus is the amount of money that sustains itself by generating an interest.
That's all.
And then you live off the interest from that body of money to sustain the hospital.
Yes.
And it's mathematically sound, it adds up, and it works.
It works. It works. But he's sustaining it, but the only thing we have to put in is this factor of inflation. Factor of inflation.
Which is a real problem.
Which is a real problem.
Here in India, it's even more of a problem than it is in the United States right now.
And also, with inflation, the salaries, there's a built-in increase in operational budget. You see, it's running a hospital now. I'm learning to know more about it now. Before I was the other end. See, you have two versions. One is the what we call capital equipment. That is all the infrastructure, all the machines you use, and the operational budget, which is day to day. See, capital budget, and the thing here is we have a unbelievably good supportive, finance and accounting system. But see, the charitable donations that come have to be spent, otherwise you end up paying taxes to it. So it's a very fine balancing act, and the trust doing a tremendous amount of wonderful work about it, because they run this very tight rope. You have to spend some, and at the same time you can't hang on to any because you pay enormous taxes on it.
I'm glad we're talking about this because I see this video being of service. We have up to 10,000 people a week who watch this from 150 countries, the Souljourns videos, and that includes many old-time devotees, veterans who have been around, who are totally familiar with this hospital from when it was conceived and constructed. They may not be so familiar with its problems it faces today. And of course we have the new devotees who are vaguely familiar with it, then we also have people who are not necessarily Sai Baba devotees, but who are hungry to know how such a hospital can exist. So a little bit about what the future holds. You're here for 3 years as its new director. Do you have challenges? Do you see obstacles that need to be overcome for the future of this hospital?
Oh, definitely. See, the obstacles I would say are personal as well as financial. See, personal is in the sense recruitment and retention. That's what I call. See, we pay salaries commensurate to the All India Institute. That's the premier institute in this country.
Okay.
But unfortunately, what we run are super specialties, or what they call here broad specialties, whether it be cardiology, cardiac surgery, urology, and they're all orthopedics, they're all broad specialties. And the people who are trained in these broad specialties go for a very high price outside in the corporate world.
So you can't match those salaries.
We cannot match them.
So what to do, as they say in India all the time?
What to do? Yes, we first thing we do seriously. I'm not, don't laugh at this. First thing I do is I pray to Swami. Please send me the right
I'm not
people.
laughing at that.
No, please.
I know the power of that.
No, pray to Swami. I do. And then there are still some people. I was listening to some discourse from somebody. You could do good things, but at the same time, you do good things without expecting anything back. So those kind of people we are finding, believe it or not, we are finding them. And they are not essentially even Swami's devotees.
How do you find them?
That's the X factor. You know, we have a real acute shortage with the urology department, consultants to come and do operation. This is an unbelievable story. If I tell anybody else, they won't. We were suddenly in lack of consultants doing urology procedures. So, of course, our main aim is patient care.
Sure.
Always, the mantra is patient care. Of course, we also have this, Swami titled it as Institute of Higher Medical Sciences. So we have training program. So we take care of patients and we also train people. And unbeknownst to me, there is this wonderful private institute which does only urology in Bangalore with 5 exceptionally trained consultants, and they come offer their services on a rotation basis 2 days every week.
And they're not even Sai Baba devotees.
They're not devotees and they're not taking a penny from us.
Now that's a miracle.
To me, that's really, I'm not joking. That's just
Keep praying to Sai Baba.
Oh, I am keep praying to Sai Baba. I'm not joking. And those guys, seriously, this is already 5 weeks now. And they're all not just urologists. One guy does pediatric urology. One guy does only laparoscopes. Is it? Like that. And one does only cancer.
Have you had a chance to talk to these people after they've worked here? Because your clientele, the client base here comes from the villages and the tribes of India. They don't have 3 rupees to rub together, and they're serving really in many cases the poorest of the poor, the least educated, and it must be a unique experience for them to come here.
Oh, but what is most surprising to me, when the chief, first time after he finished, he came and said, Choudary, I cannot believe, I stretch my hand, I get the right instrument.
They're being helped, they're being guided.
No, he said, no, we don't know anything about it. See, but I always tell people, whoever wants to come this place, I have one thing called exploration. I said, please come and explore. No surprises afterwards. So these guys explore, but they really didn't go into nuts and bolts in the operating room because they are doing surgeries that are very specialized.
So when you say to them, please come and explore, say more about that. What is it that you literally want them to do?
First of all, I want them to understand, which they don't believe, that there's a free hospital. No, seriously. They do not. There must be somewhere something is going to happen there. So they see the whole hospital and say, oh my goodness, it is free hospital. Then I also want to understand, free does not mean cheap. We don't cut corners anywhere.
That's very important for everybody.
We have an outpatient department, fully equipped outpatient department. We have 3 operating rooms just for urology alone. And they're surprised to see that, 3 dedicated operating rooms for you have the laparoscopic set? Yeah, we have the laparoscopic set.
That's amazing.
So like that's what, and also, you see, these are all people from corporate world. And I am surprised that they are, they must be so as we are, they are very watchful on their expenses. They are very.
Oh, sure. They
Because
have to
this
be.
society and this culture is used on what we call reusable things and reusing things again and again. So if you take good care of them, yes, you can reuse. There's nothing dogma about not reusing. But you need to know how many times you could use a particular, appliance or instrument or whatever you want to call it. And I thought, no, everybody does it. Across the board, everybody does. The guys who charge 3 lakhs for an operation do it. And the guys who don't charge anything, we also do it. So I want them to understand the culture we have is no different than what they have out there. And if they want a disposable instrument, we have a disposable instrument. For example, if we are operating on a patient that has some kind of a contamination that we don't want to use that again, we use entirely disposable things. So we don't ever that comes back into the mainstream again like this.
Makes perfect sense, yes.
And then at the same time, I want them to see, one thing these people were very insistent was that post-operative care. See, because it's their reputation they are putting online here.
Sure.
So I told them, go look our ICU, look our ward, look our the nursing staff we have, and be comfortable.
The post-operative care. will be
Because
top-notch.
operation is anybody. You cut well, sew well, do well. That's our own hale thing. But we still have to manpower, blood bank, lab, 24-hour lab support, X-rays, all this infrastructure. So this is what I mean by an exploration visit.
That's great. Let me ask you another dimension of this whole situation, because Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba's physical form is gone. He's magnetic in the form and not in the form. But there are different challenges now that he is not here to be the shepherd of the hospital, the ashram, the university, and everything. I guess what I'm trying to ask you, Choudary, is the people watching this, primarily I think even the people who have been longtime Baba devotees, who have a heartfelt interest in the stability and future progress of this hospital. Is there, I was going to ask you how they can help. I'm not sure there is a way. Is there a way they can be useful in this hospital's future?
Oh yeah, I told you. My statement is, Swami started it. Swami is sustaining it by the corpus that he has left behind.
Right.
But all of us who are
There's
interested...
a problem called inflation that you talked about also.
That's what all we should do is whatever we can, the American expression, whatever we can, whichever way we can. So let me explain that way.
Okay.
Whichever way we can is, we have many of these visiting physicians from abroad. For some reason over the last 4 or 5 years, I know the logistic reason. See, we had some rules here which were not compatible for them. For example, a busy practicing cardiac surgeon out in US, ask him to come here and you have to work for 2 weeks or none. No way, he's going to drop his busy schedule and come however much he loves.
It's probably impossible. Yeah.
Two. That means it takes first of all 4 days travel, and he has family, most of them.
Yes.
So what we did now is we said, no, that is not physically possible. We would ask you to come and stay for a week for sure, plus anything you can. Don't come for less than a week because it's not worth your time. Yeah. Come for a week, which is practically very possible. I know what the life is there, and so for 1 week. And then what you want to do is, if anything more you can do. So that stream we have to bring back. The reason I'm saying that is, one of the uniqueness in which Baba, I call him Baba, Swami, conceived it is this mixture of what he has here as an infrastructure and this visiting to mesh together.
Yeah.
And the patient gets the best of both worlds.
I can see how that works.
It works. This is the only, I'm not joking. Yeah. They can have conferences in other hospitals. That is just come and go. See, nobody actually physically comes, interacts, works hands-on. See? That he has conceived. So it has been happening so well, whether it is here, whether you're talking about, electrophysiologists, or you're talking about very expert, cardiac surgeons, or people you do urology outside, orthopedics outside. We have whole network, but what I want to do is rekindle that spirit from them, because it's slowly waning just a little bit.
And sometimes just for a lack of knowledge, for a lack of information. So
Sure.
when they hear that you've adjusted the requirements in a way that might be useful to them, that's good information for them to know. Let me ask you about, and tell me if this is into the wrong area, because Baba never wanted anybody to ever talk about funding or money or donations or contributions, but you can contribute time too. I'm not sure if the hospital can accommodate devotees who want to come and contribute time, to be sevados, to work voluntarily. Nurses, attendants, janitors, whatever it might be, that issue, and the donations. Let's say people know that because Baba's not here and because the corpus doesn't account for interest expanding in the future, maybe they would be of interest. It would be of interest to them to know if there is any way, practically speaking, for them to help contribute to the sustaining the hospital. Is there or isn't there?
Oh, there is, absolutely. You touched one point very interesting. I'm only sometimes get carried away, doctors.
Yes.
No, nurses, technologists. Actually, one heart-lung technologist who used to be there in Boston, is still in Boston, she's coming next week here. You
Very
see?
good.
And she's the one who introduces very nice new technologies to the perfusion system here. So technologists are very important. The same way, nurses. Because our nurses are very good, but nursing per se in this country, for some reason, did not develop.
I see.
Maybe because the physicians never gave them a chance to develop, or it may have to do with
Does that
this
mean that there aren't
culture.
as many nursing schools, nursing programs in India as there are in other countries?
No, there are many, many nursing schools. There are no dearth of nursing schools. There's one every street corner in Bangalore. Even a small place like Anantapur has 2 or 3.
Okay.
And a smallest town called Kadiri has 1 nursing school. No problem.
Okay.
But no, it is the continuing medical education for nurses, nurses specializing, nurses becoming, say, nurse clinicians,
I see what you're
critical
saying.
care nurses.
Yeah.
That development is not there.
Ongoing education.
No, it's
is-
not here.
Yeah, okay.
It's all on-the-job training. You are in a critical care area, you slowly develop, and the other person learns you.
Yeah.
But for us, at least, we are lucky. We have a set of critical care nurses that come and infuse this knowledge and bring them up.
Yeah.
So that is there.
Okay.
Now coming to the other version you're talking about it, yes, they should be able to contribute financially whatever they can contribute to the Central Trust.
Well, that's
It will
good,
go.
because see, a lot of people don't know that. I'm a reporter, I'm a journalist, and I've been, in my 44 years of journalism, I've been a Baba devotee for 16, 17 years. This is my 15th visit, and I've talked about this so much, I got tired of talking about it, but it needs to be mentioned. You can walk from one end of Puttaparthi to another. You can walk down every pathway, every street corner of the ashram called Prashanti Nilayam. You can go into every building here, and you might find, generally speaking, you'll find no sign whatsoever that there's any way to make a financial contribution. There's practically no sign, literature, program, or project, or even a welcome mat out for people who want to donate financially. Everything here is free except for the 30 rupees you pay for your meal and your 150 rupees or 20 rupees you pay for the shed or for your accommodations. It's unbelievable. And the same with the hospital here. So it creates the false impression far too often that people cannot make a contribution here. Now you're telling me, don't think that. Of course contributions are important and they are welcome here.
Yes, because see, Swami is sustaining it, no question about it. But the social projects are also going, like they started another water project. Almost like 75 or 80 crores.
Plus the schools,
Plus the
all-
schools.
yeah.
And the hospital. Like I said, 22,800 cardiac surgery procedures.
Yeah. Multiply that times 30,000 and you come up with more money than people have donated for years, but yet it comes from somewhere.
Yes. And the other thing is, what we want to do, when I say we, the trust, wants to make sure that we are not left behind in this technological advances that are, I'll tell you one day alone, last month, they released close to 17 crores, which is like $3 million just in one day for a CAT scan, for a cath lab, and an MRI.
So the trust released those funds to make those purchases to keep this hospital current.
Current.
Yes.
That's what they want. But then, I'll tell you their spirit. What they want is, this is all from donations only. Plus, of course, some are from the interest coming. But when people who have done this donation come and see that their money is going this way, into these tangible things. See, for example, what we're trying to convince now is, we have a very slow, like a 6-slice, MRI. I'm sorry, CT scan. But it's outdated now. We want something which is either 64 or 128. You see? So that is there, but we will get it. And when these people who have done all these donations they have done, come and see that we have a 64 or a 128 multi-slicer, they'll see where their money is going.
Absolutely, yes.
You see, it's not going for any infrastructure. See, it's not going for people having dinner, parties announcing for fundraising and all that. No, it's not there.
Well, I should point out that this is not the request of cardiosurgeon Dr. Choudary Voleti, who's the director of the super specialty hospital, nor is it the request made of me from the trust or anybody. This is Ted Henry's request for information to be made available as to how devotees around the world can help sustain this wonderful institution here. And before the program is over, I'll have an address for the trust for where people can get in touch for more information. Last comment that I want from you before we go on and tour the hospital here is, at a personal level, Choudary, you probably thought retirement was coming. You probably found an idea in your mind to spend a wonderful future in your beautiful place in Hawaii and just contemplate on Baba and send love to all those in the world who require love. And yet you've had to roll up your sleeves and commit yourself for 3 more years here. What motivated you to do that? I remember sitting inside Cohen Hall, the story you told us at the beginning of this, but what physically pushed you beyond that initial thought to make such a commitment?
I cannot. I'm searching that every day. I wake up at 6:30. They call me to give a progress what's going on. That's a
in the
routine.
morning.
In the morning. That's a routine established, which is a good routine, because when you wake up in the morning, come to the hospital as a director, you don't want any surprises.
Right.
No, you don't want any surprises. You want to come knowing what happened the night before. So when they wake me up, and then I keep thinking, it's there in my mind. I'll tell you only thing is, it's not my thinking. It's not my thinking. I think it's absolutely the will of Swami that I need to do this. I may sound stupid, whatever, you give me all this, I have no problem accepting it, but I have no real rational explanation, because this is not a rational thing. This is not a rational. And then researching this through some very evolved souls, I found something very intriguing. It says clearly, doing seva to your guru before his Mahasamadhi, everybody else does it. But to do that seva after the Mahasamadhi can only come after the instigation from the guru.
I see.
It cannot be done that's the only way I can explain. I did not have any clue. I'm past 70. I know I don't know my date of birth, but I'm definitely
You don't,
past.
and this is true. We've had this conversation before. You don't know your
I
people.
have no idea when I was
But
born.
you're past 70. You're very youthful.
I don't
past 70
know
person.
whether 68, 70, whatever it is, and I have this beautiful condo there overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and it's perfect. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying, oh, we have to move the lab. Yes. Why? Because MRI is going to go into the lab. And the lab has to be moved in the medical records. Yes. Where can we put the medical records? Yes, in the urology one end. And then, of course, the library has to go, because the lab can come there. Where is the library going to go? Oh, yes, upstairs there is this court, but it doesn't have an entrance. We'll put see, what Swami did 20 years ago is perfect for what we had. 2 departments. 2 departments. Perfect. 40 samples we did, everything was fine. Now we're doing 400 samples in an hour with an automated machine. So this is what I'm talking about. Swami is still sustaining it, whether it is spiritually or economically sustaining it. But beyond that, to take it further, 1,000 years. 1,000 years. And to take any guesswork out of the situation is what we should do, whatever we can do in any way we can do.
Dr. Choudary Voleti, final question. Any regrets?
My daughter called me this morning.
Your doctor called you.
She says, Dad, I told you don't do it. Because you told me 20 years ago, you're going there for 3 years. And now after 20 years, you're still going, no, she's very dear to me. I love her, really. She's my conscience, in a way my conscience. And so she was telling, because a friend of mine visited, and he said, you see, both of us told him not to take it, and he still took it. And I told her, you know what I told her? This is truth.
This is your daughter?
Aparna. I told her, Aparna, I don't regret it. You know why? I see changes. I see changes.
Yeah.
And that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And Swami has given us all this, not only infrastructure, he has given this so much money. And there are so many people who need it. Somebody has to do it. Really, somebody has to really do it. And also, somebody in the same page. I mean, I don't take any credit for myself. I just still look at Swami. I'll still look at Swami. I rearrange this whole room so I can sit here and look at Swami. And they said, yeah, Vastu is right now. I said, I don't know about Vastu, but I can look at Swami. You know, only thing, I'm not joking, people may think I'm crazy, I'm sure I'm crazy. But the reason sustaining it is, he started such a wonderful movement in this hospital, unheard in this world. Unheard in this world. I have no regret because I want to be part of this mission. Just go down and see these people.
Yeah.
This is their last resort.
Yeah.
So
you have the satisfaction of knowing that every morning hundreds and hundreds of people come into this hospital. They have no money, no rupees, and they walk out with a renewed, vigorous life because of the generosity, the foresight, and the hard work, the tireless hard work of the people of the Super Specialty Hospital. Choudary, this has been a delightful time spending some conversation time with you. Thank you so much. God bless you, and Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Ted. Thank you. I enjoyed it too.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.